This segment is brought to you by Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Hey everybody, welcome back to By Time. Harry McCullough here, and the guys of a certain age, to think about 1975 as being 50 years away is pretty crazy. But it was 50 years ago, a guy was walking on the campus of Nicholls State University, one of the best basketball players to ever walk through here. He's part of a kind of a reunion tour that we got going through Nicholls. So we have Coach Don Rodriguez, retired coach, and Shane Kleber here with the Colonel Athletic Association. Guys, thanks for being with us. We got some reunions going on, but the big one we want to talk about is Larry Wilson. And I think I was telling y'all before we walked in, I remember Raceland High School, I walked in and saw this guy that was 6'4", but shooting from 30 feet out and looked like Pete Maravich to me. Turned into one of the greatest high school players. Everybody thought he'd go to LSU.
On the Bayou.
Ended up at Nicholls. And that's now 50 years ago. So tell us about what Larry Wilson Day is going to be.
Yeah, so on Saturday, 11 o'clock, we'll have Larry come in and some of his teammates will be there. And we'll
September 6th.
September 6th, next Saturday. We'll have a ceremony for Larry just to kind of honor him and what he meant to the program and that foundation that was laid with him. With Coach Don Landry and some of his teammates. Shelby Hippolyte will be there, another Hall of Famer. Just kind of talk a little bit about that time and what it meant for them. And also, I mean, with the program now, for Coach to bring him in, he's having inside the huddle. It'll be a scrimmage at 12. But before that gets underway, we'll have a little something for Larry. And that way, the youngsters could kind of see what's going on with these guys who laid the foundation.
Yeah, and like I said, not everybody's 50 years old. Not everybody's 65 years old. But when you talk about Larry Wilson as a player, Coach, I think, 42 Nicholls and Gulf South Conference records, right?
Yes.
I mean, a pretty good player at that time.
Without the three-point line.
Right.
And
it was kind of like there was a couple other guys, Pete Maravich and Bo Dwight Lamar, that played at UL that could fill it up as soon as they walked across. But Larry was one of those guys, and Larry would have probably been way high up on the list with a three-point.
Yes, and then also Scott Sanders, our Nicholls baseball player, his dad was the assistant coach with Coach Landry.
Right.
So,
and then became the head coach later on. But yeah, there's a look at some of the players. Now Larry's not in this group. there's Larry on the right, and Hippolyte, and then who's 45? I know we had Polk, Hippolyte, we had Sonny Chaponche. And look, this is before video games, so I didn't. Yes. I went to a lot of those games.
I mean, I remember leaving. I was coaching in HL when he was playing. Leaving practice, running to the big conference games and a playoff game and tailgating at Nicholls for basketball.
Right.
So that was, and like you said, that was 50 years ago, and people were stirring in the pot and turning the ribs and everything else. It was a magical time on the Nicholls campus.
It really was. And Nicholls, in fact, I think his junior senior year. So Nicholls went to Marquette, went to like a Final Four, maybe won the national championship with Coach McGuire. They had that untucked jersey. Nicholls went to that untucked jersey for a while. They just showed a couple of shots of it. But we had that untucked shirt jersey. It was so cool to watch and watch guys dunk, because dunking was outlawed, right? And then they get in there. And that's Hippolyte. And is that Jennings or Chaponche there with Coach Landry?
That must be Jennings.
And yeah, it was a great time around Nicholls, and that gym, Stouffer, was packed all the time.
Oh, it was.
So I'm looking at some of the quotes from different coaches, but some of the all-state and some of his accolades. Only 18 players in NCAA basketball history have scored over 2,500 points, and he's one of them for sure. Ranked first in scoring, first in free throws, seventh rebounding, top 10 in field goal percentage in Gulf South Conference career stats. First in scoring, all that Nicholls as well. Drafted by the Hawks. Surprised that he was a second-round pick. Maybe because he's about 6'4", but look at all the awards that he won. Huh? So how are we going to, where's Larry now?
Still lives on the Bayou around Raceland.
Y'all see him much?
I don't. Mike played with him. Mike Detillier was a point guard there at Central.
I know him and Shelby keep up a lot, and
Yes.
they always on the phone, and Shelby will tell stories about those guys when they were, and to me, I just think it's amazing. You're averaging 28 points a game without a three-point line. I mean, what is that with a three-point line?
Right.
That's just tremendous. And, you're looking at Coach Sadler coming in with 220-win seasons, and what better person and team to bring in there and say, hey, guys, what you have in front of you. You played for a championship last year, and who better to have in there than have Larry come in and have those young guys kind of take a look at. It's not just for the guys to come in and see a practice, but it's also for the current players to actually look at this team and see what can they get out of this from these guys,
Yeah, that's the Central Lafourche team, right?
Yes, that's
pros,
Central.
yeah.
Look at the tall
I don't
guy.
see the Tillier on there.
No, but it might be another picture. But Al Suffren, who was the SID at Nicholls during Larry's time at Nicholls, I was on the phone with him this morning, got in touch with him late and everything. He's got so much stats of who was the point guard. Like Sonny Shapancha was the point guard in his last two seasons.
Right.
And Chris Jennings was in there at the beginning of it. Shelby was there. He's got all those stats and all those records, which was amazing that he knows all that.
Larry scored, he played 100 games at Nicholls, 79 times over 20 points in those games. So, yeah, he was doing all right. Hey, we buried the lead, and we got another segment. How about the Colonel football team, right? Off to a pretty good start, huh, Coach?
Hey, look, come out at 11, see Larry, see the basketball team, and then come out at 6 p.m. and get some nice cooler weather and see the Colonels take on West Georgia. I mean, we got a lot of momentum going.
Oh, that was impressive Saturday.
Colonels are ready to get after it.
Yeah. All right, we got another segment to go. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. We're talking Nicholls State Colonels and the kind of summer of reunion. Off to a great start. 20 years from now, we're going to be talking about this football team. No, they played pretty good. We got Coach Don Rodriguez and Shane Kleber are here talking about it. But we were talking about, so Larry Wilson's going to be next Saturday, and that's going to be at Stover Gymnasium. That's a big reminder of one of the greatest players that ever played here. But there's some pretty good football teams that y'all going to do throughout the year here, Shane.
Yes, sir. So we're going to start on October 25th with Nicholls versus McNeese. We have the 2005 Colonels coming in. If you remember that squad led by Yale Vanoy at quarterback, another Hall of Famer, and Broderick Cole taking the ball from him. And you had a hell of a cast up front for him with Cody Stogner, who was All-American center, Gambasi, guard, and then Jacob Bender, who played in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And then on defense, linebacker Corey Vavala. You talk about a Henry Johnson at cornerback. Defensive end, Brian Powell 20 years ago. These guys will come in. We start with a tailgate. Of course, we'll have the new Colonel Walk, which goes through Tailgate Village, so they'll be able to take part in that. And then we'll do the chalk talk with Coach. And then, of course, we'll bring him on the field and honor him. And then November 15th, we have the 1975 football team. We talking 75 basketball a minute ago, but in that same year, you had that 75 football team that won a conference championship.
Badron, right? Was he on that team?
Gary Barbaro.
Gary Strapola.
Rusty Rebo.
No, not Brian Strapola. His brother was the first 1,000-yard rusher in Nicholls history.
Sure.
Yes.
And look, that's a special group. They come through every year, the Clemens Colonels, and they always have a big group that they pick a game and they come in. So, this one will be even more meaningful for them, being 50 years. And I know it'll be special. We've got a jersey for them that we lined up. If they want a commemorative jersey, we're going to retake that picture. One of the things about that is maybe you're not wearing the same jersey you wore 50 years ago, or maybe not the same size, but we'll get a picture.
We used to wear them a little looser,
yeah,
right?
maybe a little looser.
But Dan Austin down the Bayou.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right. So
Rusty
Y'all got a patch on the
Rebo.
stadium for that 75 team.
So they'll come out there on the circle there, the Manning Field, and we'll make sure everybody knows who they are. And that's one thing about this is honoring the legacy of these players and teams and making sure nobody forgets who they are.
Yeah, and then you got basketball again in the 94-95 season. That'll be later on, and then the basketball team 75 to 76 on December the 17th. For that one.
Yeah, so talking, going back to 75 here, I see on look at these guys. We'll redo this photo from the 75 team going on 50 years. They don't want to hear it's 50 years, but
No.
it is. And, most of those guys still look like they can play a little bit. But, November, when you talk about those 05 Colonels, that was the first championship since the 80s, and they brought that back under Coach Thomas and the foundation that was laid under Darryl Day. And you think about that time period, you went from a quarterback, a Hall of Fame guy, Josh Sun, and then you had on that same roster was another Hall of Fame quarterback in Yale Vanoy. And I mean, what a load to try to tackle that guy in the option, 6'3", 225 pounds. Running that triple option. So it was a quite a few years of a foundation being built there, a lot being built with that team. And when you look at all of these championship teams, we say it all the time. I mean, it's a special team. There's always something special about those guys who get it all together. And some years you look at it and you say, man, that should have been a championship team. But they're able to get it together at the right times and the right games. So just one of those special teams, special to me. But
it's been big around Nicholls recently, right? I mean, we kind of went through a wasteland there for a little while.
Yes.
I don't know where it was, but but all sports, and it's been great around here, man. So got it going right.
It's outstanding, and to see every year we bring in teams in 2 and 3 at a time. I mean, it's special, and hey, hopefully that's a signal for something this year. Yeah. Being that we are 2025, or maybe it's time for this team.
The ability to change coaches, keep rolling, right?
Yeah.
And look, well, let's talk about this team a little bit. And that performance the other day was unbelievable. Coach, how about a defense that flies around like that? It's 100 degrees, and we were talking, there might have been 12, 15 guys on the field, it looked like, because they flew around.
I watch them practice quite often. And sometimes I'm looking and I know what defense they're calling and everything. And sometimes it looks like they have 12 guys on the field. And they're so well coached with Coach Monroe as the defensive coordinator that they get to where they have to go. Whoever's got the ball, they're just going to pat them on the back or whatever, and nobody goes to the ground. And that's a sign of a good football team, that nobody ends up on the ground.
And what like 85% of the roster is Louisiana kids too,
And it's been that way for the last 10, 11 years when Coach Rebo came in, and that's the same blueprint that you see with a Darryl Day team. Is the same blueprint you saw with a Jay Thomas, and then going back to Sonny, and then going back to Clement. So that blueprint's been there, and that's when the Colonels, that's when they come through and play ball. And you talk about, I mean, just relentless, that defense, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But what a good way to get people to come back.
Yes.
The unions are a great way, but also like, hey, come here. We're going to remember you. We're going to honor you. This is where you want to play. You don't have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and I love to see it throughout different sports. So we're not just talking about football. We're talking about basketball.
Right.
And when you look at the programs across the board, 17 sports, every coach is building toward a championship caliber program.
We had a young man show up this week. His name was Hilton Koch from St. Bernard High School. There's no more St. Bernard.
Right. Oh, yeah.
He plays for us. He falls in love with the team. The team falls in love. He was so much of a getter. He ends up in Houston. He's the mattress guy. He was he was on Cohen, and he was owner of the women's WNBA team.
Right.
And he came to the game with his son and stood
awesome.
in the end zone with him. It was a
The
great
mattress
day.
guy was here. Well, thank you guys. Which ties it all back to Larry Wilson, which will be on the 6th. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.
This was good.
Oh, yeah.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your partner is good health.